and that was back in 95. And so as time went on, we were dealing with orphans and vulnerable children, and then we saw exactly what was going on in their lives. And during COVID, we
Sure.
decided to write this whole program to go after what does it mean to protect a child from these issues, and what does it mean to help a child heal who've experienced these types of things in their lives?
Wow. Marsha, so this is a concern worldwide, but I'm just curious, what have you guys observed in South Africa? What are like the kind of unique challenges that this country holds?
Well, I think probably two things would come to mind, Luke. One is just how this issue is driven by poverty and how
Sure.
so many times people are trying to survive and children are used as breadwinners in families. And
Mm-mm.
you think sexual abuse or exploitation of a child, really all the definition is that someone is gaining from this type of activity. And so you can have a granny in a shack who's trying to survive
Sure.
and maybe turn a blind eye to the renter who is helping the family survive. And so we
Yeah.
see some of those types of things and would not be considered like classic sex trafficking of a child, but it certainly falls in the definition.
Yeah.
Um, the other big issue, and this issue is not just in townships, this is throughout the community. Some of our
Wow.
best estates in South Africa, gated communities, have been found running sex trafficking rings with
Sure.
children. This is not just a township type of an issue. But the other thing is that people don't talk about it
Mm, mm, mm,
culturally
mm.
here, especially with many of the people we work with. It's just not talked about. I did a conference 2 years ago, and a leader of one of the largest white church denominations in South Africa, the women's pastor, broke down at break and said, no, but thank you. Thank you for giving us language.
Wow.
We never, ever, ever talk about this. And so the opportunity for them to sit in their groups and to at least admit that
Mm,
this is going
mm.
on, and then finding a safe place to be able to share, well, I had some of those issues happen with me,
Sure.
is incredibly, incredibly powerful and healing.
And I'm so glad that you are opening up this conversation in this country. It sounds to me, Marsha, that it is so needed, and that's why I think this training, Courage to Care, is so super important. Maybe just to talk about the training for a moment. So you say it's interactive. It's a 2 day interactive. What does it look like? The training, the kinds of discussions that are helping participants engage with this difficult topic.
Well, we use a lot of videos with stories from real life children who have become adults, and they're telling their story about how they got sucked into being exploited, whether that's through gaming or um,
Mm, mm,
sexting or through just parents using them to bring money into the family.
sure.
So we really go after real life situations through video where people are telling their own story.
Mm,
And everyone who comes to the 2 day event sits in groups with 8 people. And so they build relationships and they talk, and we do a lot of group work.
mm,
And then we talk through not just how this could happen, but what exactly happens to our brains when it happens. What is that trauma response that carries over into the classroom, that carries over into relationships with significant others? And then what do we need to do to help people heal their brain?
mm.
And it's not necessarily just spiritual problems.
Yeah,
It's redefining. We don't need to quote scripture at people all the time. We need to come alongside of them and understand and have compassion and help their brains
yeah.
heal so that they feel secure and trust themselves again, as well as those around them.
Marsha, I see that you also have a drama series called the Holding Esther drama series. How does storytelling help address these realities of exploitation?
Yeah, our Holding Esther program is actually a joint project with TWR, formerly known as Trans World Radio.
Ah, ah.
And it's a story of two little girls who had great parents. They pass away. They end up with auntie and uncle, who then start exploiting them. They run away and they end up in a safe house run by a Christian
Mm,
staff.
mm, mm,
And the idea for that whole program is to use a real life story to help caregivers understand the thought processes going on with these children and to help them understand how they need to care for themselves
mm,
as they care for children in their care with these issues. And so we're using storytelling to kind of have this indirect approach to being able to emotionally
yeah.
go deep and cultivate compassion matched with skills
Ah,
and with helping to reorient young people to a God who loves them.
sure.
And when you've been used like this, the spiritual questions, why me? God doesn't like me. What did I do? I
Mm.
can't trust him. I'm on and on and on. And so it's to help. We're using storytelling as a gateway indirectly to have some pretty tough conversations.
That's so good to hear that it can come through such a beautiful way as well, towards or sharing this message. Marsha, it's interesting. A little bit earlier this morning, I had a conversation with a lady who taught us, and she shared with us the impact of interesting exploitation through cybercrimes. And
Oh,
yeah, very, very interesting. And I was just wondering, the impact of social media as a tool for exploitation, and what parents and leaders ought to be aware of.
absolutely. So we spend time in this 2-day training really focusing on that. It's amazing what an emoji can mean. All these little messages that are sent
Yeah,
in teen lingo
yeah.
that have, it's insane. Instagram, all of these things, as you go deeper and deeper clicking, you get into a world of pornography pretty quickly.
Wow.
Um, Also, we talk about the protections that adults need to put on phones and on
Mm,
gaming systems and
mm,
passwords and how to tell their friends they don't give out private information. And this area, this whole cyberspace is the fastest growing way that people are getting trapped into this exploitation. And it's not just some predator who's trying to meet up with a girl, although that really happens
yeah,
often,
yeah.
or a boy. It is behind the scenes just blackmailing and it's
Sure.
just this, oh, it's just horrible. And so our whole goal in this 2 days is to work with adults who work with kids and give parents the power. You do check the phone.
Uh,
Maybe you don't want to give a phone. What does it mean for your responsibility as an adult to have access to the internet in your
mm,
home and kids? The it's the biggest danger your kids
sure.
face right now.
Wow. So who should or who are attending this 2 day Courage to Care training that you are presenting?
Yeah, well, this is being sponsored by what's called the Connect Network, which is a network of over 95 organizations in the whole Africa, mostly in the southern part of Africa, but they're expanding
Hmm.
quickly.
Okay.
And it's all these organizations who care about children in different ways. And it's how we all come together to support one another, learn from one another, and empower one another. So it's the Connect Network. And if you're a leader of an organization, I highly encourage you to get connected into this community. It's going to be held at Living Hope, which is a big ministry out of the Fishhook area.
Uh,
And will be there for these 2 days. And so most of the people coming are connected in the Connect network, but we do have other guests and really any person who has influence over children will find this very, very, very helpful. That could even be a grandmother.
Oh,
But
wow.
if you're a
Yeah.
pastor, if you're a social worker, if you're a parent, if you run an orphan care center, if you're a teacher, anyone who has influence over children and with children could
Mm.
greatly benefit with that. I found out this morning we have 8 seats left.
Okay.
The event is only 200 Rand. That's basically trying to cover food. And so if people are interested, if you'd like one of those 8 seats, you need to connect with Lindy
Okay.
via email. And that email is info@connectnetwork.org.za. So that's Lindy. Email is info@connectnetwork.org.za. We would
Fantastic.
love to have.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to be there. I'm looking forward to joining you guys as well. And I'm so glad that we could have this conversation this morning, Marsha. And maybe just to give that information again, contact Lindy, and you can contact her at info@connectnetwork.org.za. And there are 8 spaces available. It's only 200 Rand. That's really, as Marsha said, just covering maybe the food that you're going to enjoy. But if you are in any way working with kids and you find that this is something that resonates with you, make sure that you contact Lindy and join us. It's going to be this Wednesday and Thursday. March, am I right?
That's right.
Ah,
And Thursday. Yes.
and it's the whole day
It
event.
is the whole day,
Ah,
8:30 to about 4:30 every day. And I guarantee that you will learn something and that you'll build relationships. And it's our prayer that people are encouraged and inspired to step up and do something. And that's why we call it Courage to Care, because this is a very tough issue and it can at times
yeah,
be dangerous
yeah,
to address this issue.
yeah. Marsha, thank you so much for the good work that you and Jenny are doing in this country and sharing this very important message. And also, thank you for your time this morning on this program. I appreciate that so much, and may the work that you do be continue to make a massive impact in people's lives. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, we'll see you on Wednesday.
We'll see you there. Okay, Marsha.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.